A very good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. We are supposed to be starting at 2:30. I'll just give 2 more minutes for others to join, then we can start. I believe others are still joining in, so just bear with us for 2 more minutes, and then we can start. Thank you. Right. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening once more again. I'm sure that we are joined by people from various parts of the world. And I would like to just get a confirmation if you can type from where you are joining us today, if you can type in the chat box where you are joining us from today, so that we can know where you are joining us from. Please do type in the chat box if you can hear me and also if you can see me. Amazing. Thank you so much for the confirmation. My name is Tanaka and I'll be your co-host again today. Welcome back to those who have been joining us for the past 3 days that we have been hosting this webinar series. Allow me to welcome you again as we continue with this webinar series entitled Bringing Women Back to Work. This webinar series is mainly sponsored by Lincoln University of Business and Management in trying to enhance, to improve, and also to uplift the lives of women around us. Yesterday, we learned about utilizing social media, which is one of the most essential skills in today's lives. And this was taught under the topic Essential IT, Excel, and Social Media Skills at Workplace and Business. Therefore, today we are going to start with a recap of what we did yesterday, and then we are going to move further in trying to understand, to learn the tricks and trends that are there in Excel as well as in PowerPoint. For those who are joining us for the first time, our speaker is somebody who's been working in telecommunications for more than 20 years and is also currently working with Etiquettes as the sales manager. She has been greatly involved in relationship management, people motivation, and leadership. And today she will be sharing us with the tricks that she has learned throughout her career. Allow me to introduce you none other than Miss Bansel, who's going to take us through this session. So basically, before we go further, I just want to take you through what our lineup, how the program is going to flow. So we have started with the introduction. From the introduction, we are going to go into the session from 2:35 to 3:50. And followed with that session will be followed with questions and answers. So in case you have got any questions, in case you have got any query, write it down, and then between 3:50 and 3:55, we will be able to get clarification on that. Ms. Bansal, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tanaka. It's a pleasure to join everyone over here today as well. Most of you would have seen me yesterday, but whoever is joining for the first time, let me just present this. Let me just present that again. Just a quick second, please. Yes, friends. So we are on day 2 of the Essential IT, Excel, and the social media skills at workplace and business. I'm back again with you. I'm Nidhi Bansal. As we introduced yesterday, and for those who are new, I am working with EDEXCEL now since last almost 9 years, with a vast 20 years experience into teaching, coaching, training, and into sales. So I've been a very hands-on person all throughout, and whatever I'm gonna talk to you about today is based on my experience, what I have inculcated in all these years as as a prized possession. We will start off with a small recap of what we did yesterday on social media and the various social media categories. We will then look at a snapshot of the email etiquettes that we discussed in detail yesterday. And today, as a fresh topic, I'll be taking you with the new things that I'll be taking over is the IT skills, which is primarily we'll be looking into the examples and the do's and don'ts for Microsoft Excel, the dashboards, and the PowerPoint. A quick recap on yesterday. So as we discussed social media and business, and I am sure that all of us retain this from yesterday, that the social media and businesses are very essentially collaborating today and moving forward hand in hand. The thumb rules, as we discussed, is please, when you are posting anything about your own new business or about your continuing business, please make sure that your post is relevant and eye-catchy to your customers or to your intended customers. Ideally, sit on your customer seat and see your post and your brand and the brand journey, where the link takes, etc., the stories, the posts, the comments, everything, take it from the customer's viewpoint and try to understand and improvise on that. Use definitely the relevant hashtags and titles to so that when people search about a particular product without the brand name, your throws up in the beginning at the first, and if it's in hashtags, it definitely shows up on the first page, the home page of these same customers. Without a doubt, you guys have to be always on, whether it's in terms of posting or whether it is in terms of response to the customers, whether it's in terms of delivery or solving any customer query, any customer issues. Always on is the mantra. So always on not only mean that interacting with them on a 24/7 basis as much as possible. It's always, being totally hands-on onto your business. A personal touch is, yes, extremely important for your customers, because for instance, I as a customer or you as a customer, if you are hunting for a product and you're not getting exactly what you need, if someone reaches out to you from any business and tells you a couple of other options which could fit well as per your options that you place in front of that business, that should be a wow factor to you, and ultimately converting it into a sales. So try to connect to the customers as much as possible on a personal level, which, as we discussed yesterday, is very much possible with a WhatsApp business page moving ahead. Last but not the least, the data-driven decisions. So please track how your posts have been doing, what time you should post, what kind of post you should do what frequency your post should have. Should that be entertaining or only informative, or should it strictly talk about your the products? You will know how far and as much as the customers interact with you and reciprocate back. So please improvise your next posts accordingly and just move forward. So all in all, if you have to remember one rule out of this entire slide for any social medium, connecting it to your business or an upcoming business, please remember it has to be focused from the customer's perspective. Always think from the other side of the table and evolve your product accordingly. Second thing that we discussed was on email etiquettes. Very quickly briefing you again on this. The subject line should be direct and short. Do not make it stretched and lengthy and instantly boring for the people to read into. It should be short and sweet and carrying the entire crux of what the email, if they open, is going to talk about. Your email should definitely have a professional signature. So for example, if I am receiving from somewhere an official email, I would like to see whether the person is a manager, is an officer, an assistant, a supervisor, a senior manager, a director, maybe a VP is trying to email me, and what are the contact details in case I have to call back. Yes, for sure, today in today's online world, we have all of us have Microsoft Teams to interact with, where we do not need to save people's contact. But you, in case you are launching your business and interacting with the customer, try and give them a number where they can call you back. Maybe your customer care number, if not your personal numbers, for sure. Avoid using multiple exclamation marks. Try to make your emails as softly delivered as possible, unless it is something of a very serious nature and you are into a professional fight with somebody, which is extremely rare. But try avoiding multiple exclamation marks. Use simple fonts which are visible. Do not try to underline or bold or highlight or mark it in different colors or use 3 colors within the same email. Try to make it as simple as possible. Even the font style that you use, what my personal favorite is a Calibri. So this is what I like. I like to use best. People try to use Arial, which as for me becomes a little too bold. So I go by Calibri and I love that font. In a font size of 10 and 11 is perfect for my official emails. Definitely proofread of what you are going to send. Like yesterday, I showed an example. Somebody has written, be in a quit environment rather than meaning be in a quiet environment. Proofread, because the autocorrects will not differentiate between a quit and a quiet. If the spelling is wrong altogether, then the autocorrect will show a red underline and will show you the different ways how to correct that spelling. So this was about yesterday. Moving on to today. So we are now going to attack heads onto Microsoft Excel and try and see how far we can learn a few tricks. So basically, guys, Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint and dashboard data presentation, what we are going to talk about, that's the main crux of any official business that we are getting into. By business, I mean any corporate work that we are now planning to join back. So they will never tell you that you are joining us in so and so designation. You should know Excel and you should know a PowerPoint, because you are supposed to be an expert in these things already before you are joining. So that is taken as granted, irrespective of whether you are joining at a very junior level of an officer or you are joining as a VP in any of these organizations. Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint are 2 tricks which will do you extremely good, and mark my words for that. As much as you practice, as much as you learn about it, as much as you go on with it. I know it looks extremely tough to start with that. I'm zero on Excel right now, but there is absolutely nothing holding you back on learning it. So when I joined my first journey some 20 years ago, and I had joined in India an organization, Bharti Airtel. That time my Excel skills were zero, because in MBA and those times the computers were quite new to us. So during our management, they hardly taught us anything, just the basics on maybe how to fill the cells. So my first line manager was keen enough, and he taught me a couple of tricks which are extremely handy with me even till date, and that's exactly what I'm going to share. So before we start, I needed to know how comfortable are you in Excel, so I can then devise the entire presentation accordingly and take you forward. If we can run a quick poll on this, please, and if you can present the data. Guys, I want all of you to participate in this. Please just let me know to what extent you understand Excel and where exactly do I need to focus on today. I'm sure we have more participants to it. All right. So we have quite a few beginners and intermediates coming up, and we have someone who is fearing Excel as well. And without a doubt, we will be catering to everyone's requirement today. It's a pretty power-packed package today, whereby we'll be learning a quick tips on Excel. And I'm sure at the end of the session, you will be all extremely comfortable in Excel, at least to the extent that I have learned. I'll also be telling you tricks on how to become even further expert in Excel and learn more tricks on your own and how to go about it. I think we are done with polling, or are we? All right. So the two main categories that we see here is the beginners and the intermediates today, and a couple of them who fear the Excel as well. And I'm happy to see 4 champions as well with us. If possible, they can definitely join me in, or they can just refurbish their Excel skills. And moving ahead, definitely you all can benefit through the dashboard skills and the PowerPoint skills as well. So let's move ahead, and now let's get into the game. Okay, there is a quick video for you to see. In case you are not able to hear it, I would really like if someone can call me on my number or just message me to let me know if you are not able to hear it. So why this video is a very small video for around a minute, and it talks about why an Excel is important to us.
Microsoft Excel is one of the most powerful yet very underrated software used today in the office. It's used across many different types of companies, from manufacturing, sales, construction, consulting, software, banking, right up to stockbroking. So you could be in admin, HR, marketing, finance, engineering, sales, any of these fields, Excel would really be helpful. So some of the main uses of Excel are listing and organizing data. For example, marketing data, sales data, customer data, HR data, presenting data, converting numbers into tables, charts, and graphs, analyzing data and making future prediction for marketing, for accounting, and for manufacturing. Some even use it for project planning and even invoicing. And here's a very interesting point. Many companies don't tell you beforehand they need you to be good in Excel. It's assumed that you already know about Excel before joining. For seniors, it helps to know the more advanced techniques of Excel. For example, things that you can do in just half an hour sometimes takes 1, 2, 3 days to do without knowing the techniques. More than that, Excel can make you the go-to person in the office. You know, whenever people have any problems with Excel, they always will come looking for you. Who doesn't want to be that MVP? In a nutshell, knowing and mastering Excel can bring about a higher salary in your job. At the beginning, Excel might feel a little bit difficult, but with a little bit of practice and good coaching, you can really master it. And that's why you should learn Excel.
Well, that was absolutely right that this person was talking about Excel. Not only that it is extremely important in any rung of our professional life, it also makes you a go-to person. There are so many in the office who are walking up to me to learn on Excel, and me also walking at times to other people who I think are, an outright expert for any tough thing that I need to understand. So that's a part, and it becomes a part and parcel of your official life without even you knowing it. Not a day goes by where we are not working on multiple complex Excel sheets together. So let's now dive into on how to excel in Excel. So we will go over these quick 6 to 7 points, and then we will jump to examples and try learning these tricks. So for the basics, we all must know how to, if it's a complex data present, see if it's a small data with us, say 6 rows and 7 columns, it is easy for us to analyze with our own eyes. But if it is a huge data, say running into thousands of fields, thousands of rows, so for example, there are 2,000 or 10,000 rows, how do you do it? You must need these tricks, right? So the basics, which is sorting a data or filtering or freezing a cell, simple functions like sum or average, or how to count the left or the right of the feeds in the cells are very important. And we will see how when we jump onto an Excel practically. We all must know and master to use the pivot tables. I believe, as per me, the point 2 and 3, which is the pivot tables and VLOOKUP, is one of the most is two of the most important tricks and calculations in an Excel that are ever possible. If you know this pivot and VLOOKUP, guys, you know 99% of your working requirement of Excel that you will ever need. So we will look more into details onto this. So pivot tables are basically used to make a sense out of a large data dump that is given to you. And VLOOKUP is required. So V is vertical. So it's vertical lookup. So VLOOKUP is required to search for a certain value from another file. So it's instead of a manual copy and paste, it's a virtual lookup from another file. Use graphics, yes, very essential to represent your data. Remove the duplicate data sets of points. We will see how we can do that. Transposing the rows into columns or vice versa. And splitting up text information between columns. We are going to see all of it now hands-on as we go forward. Let me take you to an Excel now. All right, you can all see this, right, guys? So this is a sales data which depicts the sales in November of a particular year. And these are the partners who have cracked these sales. These are the sales application numbers. So it's an outright sales data. This is the application status, whether the sales have confirmed or the sales have failed, as you can see in few rows here. And this is a sales count as to in this application number, how many sales counts were confirmed or failed because as per this particular application number. So let's go ahead. As we were discussing how we do it is, give me a quick second, please. Okay, lay it down. So how to filter the data? You go here, go to data here at the top. I hope all of you can see this. All right, thank you for confirming with a yes in the chat box. That really helps me moving forward. Go to data and go to filter. So the moment you put filter and whichever row you have clicked upon, the filter arises there. And what filter helps you to do is you can filter out. So for example, on 1st November, how much sales happened. So you know here at the bottom of the Excel that 24. So this Excel primarily has 5,290 rows. That's a huge data dump right in front of us. So out of which 24 sales happened on 1st of November. Say for example, on the last day of November as compared to that, how much sales happened? We can see it has escalated to 198 at the month end. Let's open the filter again. Let's see on the partners. So a partner 1 has done how much sales? Out of 5,290, this partner alone has done close to 2,000 sales, so 1,976. So it is as good as approximately 38–40% sales is coming from this partner 1. So this is exactly how the filter works. you can run on filters on to confirmed. So for example, how many were how many applications were confirmed out of this 5,290. If you will select confirmed, you will see at the bottom here where I'm pointing my cursor that 4,953 were confirmed. So there was a huge confirmation happening as compared to the failures for this particular month. We'll select all, we'll move back. Then comes the sorting. So for sorting, ideally, if you will select on any of these, from A to B, any of these letters in the alphabet, if you'll select. So if I click on F, it selects the entire column. If I click on any of these digits, it selects that rows. But if I click here on the corner between A and 1, it selects the entire table. So to sort this table out, for example, I need to sort out now whichever sales count has been 1. For example, sales count, smallest to largest, largest to smallest, so smallest to largest, right? So see, it has now sorted out the data with the sales count. So I know that how many sales have happened with the sales count of 1. That was on sorting. Let's move ahead now and try cracking in the VLOOKUP. So what I basically want to talk about today is VLOOKUP and pivot. So, starting with the pivot first. So how it happens is, now assume a business scenario where you are sitting and you have been reporting to a boss for the last couple of months, and the boss calls you today and says, please get me the report in November. Which partner was the best partner for us? Can you get me the sales report for this? You say, sure. You go back, you get this dump from the MIS. And now how do you calculate? So what you do is you create if you are not aware of the pivot function, you create a manual table. So you create partner name, you create sales in November. So partner name, you put in partner 1, partner 2. Okay, just note the time that it is taking me to type in all of these things manually. And you then go in sales in November. So you will have to go manually. You will have to filter out partner 1, see 1976. Okay, go back. It is 1976 here. For partner 2, let me filter again. Partner 2 is 642. So now this is how at the end of it, your table should look like. And your table is this, and here are some values to it. So say a partner 3 is 315. Partner 4, doing it a bit quickly, is 1676. And let's take the final partner with us, which is partner 5. It gives us 681. So 681. How much is the total? Again, I have to do it manually because, guys, I'm not aware of the pivot function right now. Correct? Just to beautify the table a little, I go to home, I put the bars across, and this is my table for sales in November, and I center align this data. This is how I have neatened up the table, and this is a manual table that I have created. Instead, what helps us more is, and extremely quick to go about, is pivot table. So I'll first demonstrate how I'm using the pivot table, and then I'll go about teaching you on step-by-steps on to how to be an expert in pivots. So instead, what I'll do, I will select this entire data. Rather, I will go first to insert here on top of it, next to home. I go to insert, I go to pivot tables. I select a table range. This seems auto-selected, but just to be doubly sure, I will select the entire table, all rows and all columns that are fed in. I go to existing worksheet because I want to display my pivot table here. I will select the location. I want to display the pivot right here. And I'll click OK. So this is what the pivot table would give me. This is how my pivot table shows. Let me do that again. I will try to present it here. Insert pivot table. Existing sheet. And this is here that I need the data. All right. This is again, I need to select the table. I need to now do the location, and location is here. All right. So this is how I see. And this is now the pivot table fields that I have opened up. So I quickly have to go. I have to, since it's a partner's name, partners, and sales count. And this is the count of sales that I've done. So these are the, see now this is exactly the same table if you will match up, but the pivot table happened without any rigorous personal diving into the deep data. There are no chances of any confusion or any human error happening, and the same table exactly that came up. So this gives me the count of sales. Now if I have to add up the sales also, I will just go here. I will go to the field list again. I will go to the count. Instead of count, I will do sum. This will give me a 21,850 sales that happen. So if you will total up the F column, it gives at the bottom here 21,850 sales that has happened, and it has given me a partner-wise split. So this is the beauty now of pivot. We can change the things here before going into it, that how to do it. So for example, now you go back to your boss, that boss, this is the data, this is the count, and this is the number of sales that has happened. This is the application count, this is the total sales. Boss says, can you please give me region wise also, which partner has done how much in which region? All I have to do is I have to go back, I have to drop it into the regions. If I close this, see, my same data has moved at just a single click. I know now that Abu Dhabi has given me 852, Sharjah being the best place, giving me 16,556 sales. Otherwise, if I do not know pivot right now, how do I do it? I have to do it manually. So I'll have to go to partner one. I'll have to filter each and every location. So Abu Dhabi gives me, say, a 74 at the bottom of the table that you can see. Dubai gives me 387. Sharjah gives me 1515. And accordingly, I have to fill up the whole huge table manually. So instead, all what I have done is, since I'm an expert in pivot now, it makes it much easier to handle the data going forward for any of my business requirements. Now let's learn on how you can do a pivot yourself. But remember, when you are learning here, immediately the workshop, when it gets over, and tomorrow and the day after, you will have to take up a data dump on your own PC, and you will have to practice these skills time and again till you become expert and a total confident in that. So let me now go ahead, taking you step by step on how to do a pivot. So first and foremost, you will click on insert here. You will go to pivot table. The table range where it says select a table or a range, you will have to select the entire table range here. You will go to existing worksheet, click here, and you will click a cell where you want to present the data. So I have clicked H3 here. Yes, this is where H2, where I want to present my data. This throws up this pivot table fields. So there are four spots to it: filters, columns, rows, and values. So we primarily use columns, rows, and values, and I'll tell you how. So what is rows? Rows is, so ideally now what we are trying to do, guys, pivot is that we have to create a small table summarizing this entire bulky data which is running into 5,000 rows. how we do it is whatever of these you pull down into row becomes the row of the table. Whatever you pull down into columns becomes the columns. Whatever you put into values, fill up the table accordingly. So this is the first example. If we want rows as the partner, we pull down this from down to rows. And here comes the partner as rows into 5 rows. If I pull down now the sales count or the application number count that I put in, if application number count I'm putting in, here it comes the total applications that were punched in, which is 5,290. If I don't need the application count, rather I need the sales count to happen. So there were total of 21,850 sales that the partners did. Now what is here in columns? So if I want now to split this data region wise, I take this to columns. Whatever I put in columns becomes the columns of this table here. So here I see that we will center align it for a bit of neatness. So here I see that this entire data has been now presented region wise. So what this table gives me in a quick second is, now when I go to my manager, I am ready with this, with my suggestions or with this questionnaire. Which is the best region if he asks me? So we know Sharjah without any manual calculation into it. Yeah, which region needs a bit more focus? Abu Dhabi, definitely. So if you want to now launch a sales incentive or a sales booster, which region should you focus on? You definitely will focus on Abu Dhabi because Sharjah is already doing well. If you want to boost some more sales team and inculcate a couple of new partners, maybe Sharjah is again the region, or perhaps Abu Dhabi is the region if you know your regions well, where maybe you do not have enough partners working there, and Abu Dhabi could be the new Sharjah for you. So this is how. Now, whichever field you do not need to present, it is always possible for drop it back to the top. So for example, if regions you do not need tomorrow, you go back and drop the regions top on the top. So your pivot happens to be without the columns, without any columns. If you do not need the sums here, please drop it back, drop it back. Now assume that you now go back with your manager with now this ready data, and the manager says, no, I don't want the total sales. Please get me as per the status of the application. So which of the applications were successful? Give me that percentage only. I want you to present that. Now imagine if you are going to do all this manually here by filtering and by sorting out, and then by taking the application status as confirmed and failed and then running into the percentages, it is going to be some task, right? So how we actually do it here is partner wise. Application status comes in columns with us here, and the sum of sales come here. So now we know exactly that. So if we run a quick calculation here, we know that 6% of our sales have 6.5% of our sales were a failure, and by a majority of 93.5, so it was a grand success for us. So but we still definitely need to look into the 6.5, and that's how the sales pressure actually is, that why it failed. If it won't have failed, we would have had 1,400 sales as well. So this is how a pivot. So a pivot is basically a flexible table. The manual tables that you make are fixed table. Anytime that you need to change a manual table, you will need to do your calculation and making up of that table again and again and in a repeat mode. Unlike if you keep this pivot live and you just close Control S this sheet and you close it down, tomorrow you come back to office, your manager has another thing asked by his VP to him, he lets you know, you can just go ahead, quickly tweak around a couple of columns and rows, and you will be able to present the data as required from you. So this was a bit on pivot. Can you please quickly let me know in chat if it was clear, or do you want me to take up any aspect on pivot again, or do you want me to rerun this example or any other example on pivot again? I'll be happy to know and move accordingly. Was it clear? Was it do again? Or was it a bit confusing? Should I elaborate on anything? The question is for everyone there. very clear. Now, I'm happy to hear that. Clear. It's good, Zohera, that you could understand this. Everyone else, please. I need to hear basically from the beginners and the intermediates, and I fear Excel. If you can please identify and write if you are able to now understand what a pivot is, and you will be able to do it yourself moving forward, and go ahead and practice it and become a champion in it.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. This is Nandini from Qatar.
Hi, Nandini.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm sorry, I'll not be able to on my video now because, okay. So let me come to the question. Actually, like this pivot table is something I used during my, like when I was working in office as a data analyst, I have been using, and it's 10 years now. I'm a teacher right now. I'm looking back to work something related to my field. And this session is this is the very first session I'm attending.
Okay.
So this is the session I'm attending after years, like which is related to my field, and it's really, like it's giving me some positive energy. Thank you for that. I have been such a nice, host and, a resource person. Yeah. So, and my question here is, ma'am, from this pivot table, I can make a data chart easily, like for, because, like as being a teacher and I'm doing some result analysis for the school, for my department as well. So I'm now using my knowledge on this to create, I'm doing it manually. I have not been using pivot. Just now I'm refreshing that I know pivot as well, but not much as, and your, your session was useful and refreshing too. My question is, can I make a chart, data chart out of this pivot table? And can you please explain us how to proceed?
Yes, absolutely, Nandini. That's a very relevant question. And in fact, commenting on your earlier things as well. Now, since you being a teacher, and pivot will be extremely handy to you in analyzing the results or the results for the students, as well as the students have, for example, assume that you are teaching a grade 10 or a 12, that whatever subjects the students have opted for. So pivot is extremely handy for you to say there are 200 students in a particular class. So which subjects they have taken, which is the subject which is best opted for. So moving ahead, try and use this pivot as much as possible. For your second question, absolutely, this pivot, just at a click, which we are going to share in the upcoming slides, it is extremely easy to turn it into a dashboard or a chart to present it to anyone, and even for your own understanding, because here that we see right now here on the screen, these are just gross numbers. It does not indicate much to us how much is a 7,000 and how much is a 1,200 as compared to that. But yes, so moving ahead, my second topic for the day is, it happens to be dashboards, in which we'll be learning on how to converting this pivot into a chart. So this is exactly what we are learning.
Okay, ma'am. So you're going ahead for this, no? Thank you for that. Absolutely. And ma'am, this pivot table is just, this pivot table is just a formula or values that it's already, or we have to copy it into values? Like, how
so there are two ways that you can go about it. I am particularly comfortable and I advise that you copy it into values and then go ahead, because if you're finalizing the pivot table, if you do a paste special and move ahead with creating a table onto it, with creating a chart onto it, it is much more easier, because it will give you certain things. So for instance, if I am running a percentage here, it is easier if I convert it into a value and then turn into a percentage, rather than if you will see the data here now. So I do not know which cells I have punched in here. Get pivot data, sales count, application status, failed, whatever it says right at the top here. So rather than if I would have copied, pasted and put in, it becomes easier, just an F2 and I know exactly what I have done.
Okay, ma'am. So, but that will be like, permanent, right? Because once I paste it into values again for another pivot. So like what I should do, ma'am, which is advisable to do?
So what I always do is, when I am pasting and creating it into the charts, I keep the original, this form live with me. So I'm not doing it exactly here.
So so because whenever we change one data in the raw data also.
Exactly. So once you need to change any of the rows or the columns, you can go ahead, change it, copy, paste it again.
And it keeps updating.
create the chart out of it.
Yes, this okay, ma'am. So now I understood that I can copy, copy the raw table and paste it into values down so that I can make anything out of it.
Absolutely. And we will see that more in detail.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying me, and such a nice session. Keep doing, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. So moving ahead, so if we are all clear about the pivot and how do we use it, let me take you to one of the more another important functions as well, which is a VLOOKUP. So what exactly is a VLOOKUP? A VLOOKUP states, as I mentioned earlier, V is for vertical. So in any of these vertical, in any of these rows, whatever data is punched in here, if we want to look up a particular other thing that is not fed in these columns, another data, another value, we can paste it here. So for example, assume that the application status are not here. Okay, just for the sake of example. And here now we need to punch in application status. I do not know what the application status is because my IMIS team does not give me one report for the sales application number and the application status. There are two reports that they run. So one, they give me the application number, and the second report they run is with the application number, they give me the status. So now I need to punch it in here because I need to know which partner has done, what's the status of for each partner's sales. So so for this, I will need now a VLOOKUP. So if I do not know a VLOOKUP, how do I do it manually? I'll have to go application number by application number. So I do a Control-C here. I copied it. I went there. I pasted it here. And here comes the application status. I am going back and I am pasting confirmed. Okay. Take the second. So I have copied it here. I go back here. I paste it here. Here it is also a confirmed. Okay. Let me go to the third option. So I'm trying to depict that how tough and tedious it is to do it on a manual basis. So you can see this is depicted in 709th row here, and it is a confirmed. So now you can imagine if this has taken me say some 30 seconds to punch in 4 of the application statuses, if I am going to do it for 5,290, I think it is going to take me days, and I'm going to become a little crazy as well as extremely tired as well. Maybe brain dead by the end of punching in the data for 5,290. And assume that I now need to punch in another column for these applications number, then I have just had it. I'll have no other option but to refuse that. Sorry, I cannot do this. And MIS must evolve. They should do it. I will not be able to do it. Rather, I will first demonstrate how a VLOOKUP works, and then we will go about learning it. So for a VLOOKUP, I just put here an I'll tell you that later, but let's see how I am doing a VLOOKUP here and how it will save us all the manual hassle. See here. So by one formula that I have inserted here, which is showing in the address bar here, I have got the answer here that this particular application number is confirmed. I'll just copy and paste it in all the rows, and I have got in just a single click, and within say 30 seconds, I could solve all the 5,290 rows. Do you see the power of VLOOKUP, how it works? And now, assuming that it will have all the other multiple data rows as well. So for example, contact number of the customer for this particular application number, yeah, email ID of the customer, or say revenues by the customer. All I have to do is if I have to punch all of these things in that report, all I have to do is I have to create rows here, create columns here. I have to type in the same headers. I need to run in the same VLOOKUP values, and my entire table would be ready. Once the new table is ready, And since I now have the confirmed status, which I had deleted, which are already there in this pivot, I can go ahead and create the pivot and play literally with the data as much as I want. And trust me, guys, once you get the hang of these tricks, it becomes extremely easy for you to work. Now let's go ahead learning how a VLOOKUP works. It's extremely simple a trick. It will not take us more than a minute to learn this trick, and extremely handy that it comes by. So repeating pivot and VLOOKUP solves 99% of my Excel requirements for my work. And mind it that I have been experiencing Excel and playing with it for the last 20 years now. So place an is equal to, type VLOOKUP. Now see what it says below, VLOOKUP, lookup value. So I am trying to hunt now this value. So before I run this VLOOKUP, I look into the other worksheet and see which is now the common fields, because one has to be a common field for a VLOOKUP to run. So here I see the application number, and here also I see the application number. That's a common field for me to run a VLOOKUP. So we can run a VLOOKUP only with the common field. So VLOOKUP, so which is my lookup value? So the lookup value, which is now appearing in blue, lookup value is this. I make a comma after this. I go to my other data. I select this common value column as my first column, always to start with. And I select the entire table here like this. This is my data range that I would be looking up that value for. Now what I need to remember, punch in the application status there. So the application status as compared to the application number, it is in which column? If this is column number 1, application status is column number 2. So 2 is the value that I punch in. So my next requirement here is table array. I just put in column index number. Column index number becomes 2 because it's the number 2 value that I'm trying to punch in here. Again, placing a comma as the formula is suggesting me, and range lookup. Range lookup, I will put a false. A false you are putting in when you want to pick up an exact value from the other sheet. So I'll close the bracket, I'll press enter, and see here it comes confirmed. So without me manually typing and pasting it there and doing it for the entire rows available, I've just put in a simple formula, and the results came by. Now I'll just go ahead, copy this. And here for my entire bunch of rows, I have got the, if you scroll down, just look at this address bar here up. If you will go up there, and as I'm scrolling down, it is changing the fields, it's changing the cells, but the formula remains the same. So the VLOOKUP has made me run on the entire Excel, and it is very easy for me to transfer data from different worksheets with a common any unique the columns that I have in both the things, any common columns that I have. So I could complete this looking it up, and for the sake of clarity, let me run this function again, so all of us are clear before I understand your requirements further into this. So all we do is we type in VLOOKUP. We take in the reference cell, only one cell that we are selecting, that we need to look up this application number into the other cell. So I'll put in this, I'll put a comma after this, I'll go to the other Excel. This happens to be my first row because this is where I'm searching in the application number. I'll select the entire table, I'll put a comma, I'll put a 2 because I need the data onto the second column to turn in there, and I'll put a false, and here it comes. Yes, guys, so this VLOOKUP now makes us merge two Excels primarily. So now if that Excel does not have anything else for us, I can definitely go ahead and close it. One very important thing when you are running a VLOOKUP, because perhaps this Excel is not a saved Excel with you, or maybe this Excel you would have changed some fields, or maybe this Excel you would have created by merging two reports. So do not close this other Excel, or do not close even this Excel on which you have been working on till you copy paste these fields. So you have just copied and you have pasted it as values. So here this will become permanent, and this is not going to change because this is an old month's report. And once the application is confirmed, you know, of course, the best about your business or the organization that you would be soon joining into, or where you are already working, that once confirmed, this should be confirmed. So now these have become a permanent fixture onto this particular Excel. Thereby, I can go ahead and I can close the other sheet, and now this data is ready. So give me a feedback. How was this VLOOKUP? Should I take it up again once more, or should I take up another data and depict how the VLOOKUP happens? Okay, Asif is writing, we are unable to see the other sheet. Yeah, that's right, because the other sheet was not presented. Okay, let me run that again. Sorry, I'm seeing this comment only now. So the other sheet, how it goes, you are not able to see this other sheet, right? Okay. This was the other sheet that I was talking about. So the other sheet had application number here, and it had the application status here. And this is where I was typing in that the other sheet might have the contact number of the customer, email ID, or menu by the customer as well. So what we were working upon was the Excel 1, where we saw this formula happening. So I hope this is now clear that what we were typing in and running up the formula here was from the other field. So this I come back to the formula. So here what it says is from the other Excel which I just showed, which was report details A2 to B5291 that we ran. Is this formula clear now? Can you please indicate to me on chat, please? It's clear. I am happy to hear that from Fatin and Kajal. Is there anything else or any other questions that you want to have? You can ask me the questions now on, you can just type it in. If you guys are on mute, you can just type in any questions related to a VLOOKUP right now. All right, so guys, the crux is that we all must practice this as much as possible. So I would have run it personally, a VLOOKUP or an Excel, I would have run it 1,000 or 1,000,000 work cycle. So I am like pretty much confident out of it. I know various tricks out of it as well. If I get stuck in any of these VLOOKUPs, if ever I get stuck up in any of these functions. So moving ahead, let's see a few quick tricks as well into Excel. So these are quite basics. For this, I will try to work on a shorter data so we all understand it better. You are able to see now the this Excel, right, on which I'm working now, the Excel 1. Okay. So for example, now if I need to total up, it's a small table, it's a handy table, I can run on it without a VLOOKUP or whatever. So it's a sum. So sum is equal to sum, and I select the data, it gives me the total of this entire. So if you will see manually as well, at the bottom of the Excel, it is showing 41. So this is 41. Now, if I want to see that how much was the total, the maximum sales that happen in any application. So I just need to type equal to max. So say coming back to Nandini's example, how much is the maximum score that a student has achieved in the entire school? Say 2,000 students that she's analyzing. She doesn't need to go cell by cell. She can just use max. So here, if you'll see manually, we will track it. Here we will see that yes, 7, it seems to our eyes that 7 is the highest sales that has happened in a single application. Going back to our presentation, what we were seeing in Excel, that we would be learning is average. That is an extremely good average and freeze. Let me show that to you. So an average. Now, how much is the average sales? So the total applications that have happened in this particular period are 12. Here it shows at the bottom these details. Now in these 12, what is the average sales that has happened? So a quick way is to select that data and see the average at the bottom, and it is showing to us a particular value, right? It's showing 3.4. But how to calculate an average when it's a huge data and it's not possible to select it manually? Type is equal to average, select the data, close the bracket, and see it's the same data that it is giving us. There's a 3.4 sales that happens per application to us. And how to freeze? Now assume that this data is a huge data. Okay. And now for the sake of it, just understand that all of these columns are showing different values. What I mean is, now if you want to see vis-a-vis partner 2 here, you want to see the last column, or let's paste more so that this Excel looks a bit more complex. Okay. Now you need to see the last column. Now you do not know which partner you had highlighted because you have reached the last column already. You had to see against column C where partner 2 is mentioned. So what you do is you go to cell D2, you go to data, you go to view, not data, you go to view, you go to freeze panes, and you click on freeze panes and then freeze panes here. So what happens is this particular column gets frozen and this particular row gets frozen. So if you will now move your data ahead, the A, B, C columns are not going to move. What is going to move is the columns ahead, and the partner 2 will clearly show now the last column if you want to see against partner 2. So if you have to take this data to a management or in any of the meetings, this is a very handy tool on how to freeze. And how to unfreeze this now? Just go back to freeze panes and unfreeze the panes again. If you have to freeze the entire column, go to freeze and freeze the first column, freeze the top row, freeze panes. If you put freeze panes, it will not freeze the rows, but it freezes the column here out there. Or undoing it again. So say if you are freezing this particular unfreeze and then freeze again. So even when you're scrolling down, it will keep showing you. If the data would have been huge, it would have showed you on the first application number, the application number. This will become fixed now, the particular first row. So this is how you can keep on tracking and keep on practicing on EDEXCEL. One trick that I was going to talk to you about is, say for example, tomorrow you are into a particular job and you require some other function in Excel which you are not aware of. Just type it in, just Google it out, run a short YouTube video and see how exactly that particular function will work for you. So for instance, now assume that now if you will just run your eyes down this, you will see that the application number, the first 4 digits is common. Okay. Now think that you need to do a VLOOKUP with only the last 5 digits of the application number. So you need the right 5 digits. How to put it? How to do it? So you cannot manually type in that first is 6641. The second right digits are 67994. No. This is an extremely time-consuming job. So what you do is you select this data, open the bracket, select the cell, and put right, and select the cell, and put. We were doing it for 5. Yes. There's something, some error in this. You have to do it right. The bracket has to be after right, and go to this cell, click 5, and here it appears. So that 66641 is the last 5 digits. If you will just copy paste, it will give you for this entire column. So how you do it is you insert it here. Yes, and once you do a Control C and a Control V paste special here. These cells are ready for you to VLOOKUP or to do any such things, and you can primarily delete this application number because you know that your entire organization, the first 4 digits remain common. So this becomes your reference point. And this is how what you can do to any of these particular things out here. So any questions on Excel, or should we move ahead now? So moving ahead a bit quickly now on to, I will share my presentation again. Yes, so we are back to the presentation, and if you will see, this is the key. The more you practice, the more brilliant you are going to become. Now, as Nandini asked, it's a very good question on how to present your data well. So that's a second question for you. Now, which option do you think is the most effective to present the data? Is it option 1? Do you think option 2 should do good, or do you think I should present this data, go ahead and present this data to my manager as a clear table, which is option 3? Can we have this very quick poll, please, and see what exactly is the best way that you think? People have started typing in the chat. Can we run this poll quickly? If someone from LUBM can assist us, please, here on this poll. We need the second one, right? Yes. Okay, let's end this poll now. So we have a clear results here that yes, definitely option 1 and option 2 are one of the best options to go ahead and present the data. So let's now quickly learn on how to create a dashboard or how to create the charts from a particular data. So what's the importance of a dashboard? So the tables and charts, it gives us a display overview of a large data tracks. It gives us very clearly as to what this entire data dump indicates to us. It's extremely simple and quick to understand, much quicker and easier to understand than we can understand from a written table. It eases the decision-making process by showing the vital parts of the data in the same window. So, very small snapshot, if the management has to take a decision, there we go. It is a very time-consuming trick. It improves the results, reduces our stresses, and increases definitely our productivity a whole lot. I'll quickly take you through an example. I will present now the first Excel that we were on, and let's see if we can build up a chart out of it and what we can do ahead with the chart. So you can all see this Excel now. Going back to the first Excel, the first sheet that we were working upon. So let's see if this is now the detail with us. Okay, I will pay special this. That's what I'm comfortable in. All right. To make my data now neat, and let me go and create a chart out of it. So creating a chart has never been that easy. Just select this entire data and go here to insert go here to recommended charts. That's one of the quickest and easiest option. I never would have had to go to any of these other individual options. Go to recommended charts. Always and always you can blindly click the first option that is available. So if you will click now the first option, here it comes. So this shows you that partner 1 is A, showing the maximum sales here outright. So you don't, instead of reading this table and running that whose figure is the highest and have you missed out a maximum detail here, just this chart clarifies it to you as to how which partner is one of the most successful ones for you, right? There are various other options with this chart now. You can beautify this chart. So say you can say partner performance. You can, I have deleted the grid lines. So that is something which makes the chart more lively. If I'll go back onto the sheet 1 again and say if I am now changing this data onto changing it, say, region wise. I do not need application status. I'm not confirmed. I do not need that, right? So if if I need to run this data and I need to create a chart out of it, I'll just go quickly. I will paste this data here. I will again go to insert. I will go to recommended charts and I will click the one of the first options that it is giving me. Right, I will remove the grid lines, and now what it shows me is that each partner, now this is the grand, so the grand total, I will remove by the grand total. It shows me clearly that the gray bars is what? The index bottom, at the bottom the index shows me Sharjah. Sharjah is the highest sales that is giving me, and that too for partner 1. This being the grand total, so partner 1 is doing the highest sales in Sharjah. Yeah. Now, how does it help us in taking a management decision? Coming back again to this. So now say the call was to take again on the application status, forget region wise and take the sales value. Okay. Now this is the table that we have. Very quickly, pasting it down, converting it into a chart. Yes, so converting it into a chart here. So this gives us that so for example, now the management says that one of these partners you need to close down and you can go ahead only with 4 partners. So which partner do you think here would should close down? Because this will give you a very clear indication. This data indicates that partner 3 is A, not only the poor performer, it has more on the it's a very clear poor performer, and you can, if you delete this partner as well, if you refer to the table also, he is doing only a 1,328 sales on a total of 21,000 sales. You delete this partner, nothing is gonna matter. The partner 2 and partner 5 are on radar, and you will like to keep looking ahead on what to do with these partners moving ahead, and partner 1 and partner 4 are the clear winners. So this is how presenting data into a chart really helps us down and makes things clearer moving forward when you are presenting any type of data. It is very easy to change the chart titles here. Partner performance, region wise, and you can just take this. You can go back to your presentation which you were doing, and on to any, say, a particular slide. If you will insert by here a new slide, you can go ahead and you can paste the chart here. And this is how you make ready for presenting it across. What we are going to learn now is moving ahead. We are a little short on time as well. So let's move ahead and we will come back to this slide 15 again. But let's learn now first a few tricks on PowerPoint, and then we will come back and see how to tackle this slide and make it into a sales analysis slide. Coming back. So as I said, for Excel as well, even for the charts, practice, practice, and practice is the key. The more you practice, the more you try changing the colors of the bar, the more you will be successful and confident in doing it just at your fingertips. So this is another small video on PowerPoint, and let's see on how PowerPoint is essential for us. I will play this video. I think I'll have to redo it, and yeah, its sound share is there. Okay, great. Let's play that.
For you. So should you be using PowerPoint when you present? I lean toward yes. I'd like to unpack some details, however, to make sure we're doing this in the best way possible. The first tip is that PowerPoint is just a visual aid. It's not meant to replace everything you were going to say and put that in a verbal form. You've probably seen people do this. They mistake a visual aid for the actual presentation. They put the whole thing up there and then they read through it and everybody's flipping through the deck and they're not really focused. It usually leads to pretty poor presenting, so it's just an aid. It's supposed to enhance and add to and emphasize your message. It shouldn't be a replacement for your presentation. Second tip is that your visual aid is for your listeners, not for you. So keep that in mind when you're creating them. Don't put everything up there that you need to keep track of so that you keep glancing back at the PowerPoint, looking at it the whole time. You should have a whole different set of speaking notes that you speak from. And this will really free you up. Once you have your speaking notes, then you can craft way better PowerPoint so that it can enhance learning and enhance retention of everything you're saying. So with that in mind, I want to talk about what these PowerPoint slides should look like. Well, first of all, I recommend starting with just one slide. If you're not using any, or if you're using way.
Okay, so moving ahead. So what they say is that yes, a PowerPoint is extremely a good tool in presenting our data to anyone. Just a couple of slides, like for instance, I am doing it to you, makes it clear than any other medium to put across my thoughts and ideas to you and for you to understand it. Simply take it back and email it across to people, particularly coming back to the corporate world, extremely important and handy tool for us to know, learn, and practice onto it. I've seen quite a few colleagues who are extremely challenged into PowerPoint. That's not the case. If you would try your hands on into a few easy tricks, try to keep it as simple as possible. Move ahead with very easy fonts and colors. I particularly do not like, and the professionals do not recommend, using any slide designs as the background. If you try to make it any dark hue, a black or a dark green or a dark blue as the background and try to keep your font in any color, it usually does not work and is not visible at a distance in any of the conference rooms. Keep it white, put the font as black and in a very simple font style. Keep the focus on the topic. Do not ever deviate on what you are trying to present, until and unless you do not know what the topic is and you are trying to deviate from the topic and just as a fill gap arrangement, you are just speaking about anything else. Please do not deviate from your topic at all. Try to use a video or an audio as and when the opportunity allows. So in offices, it typically does not require us to do that. Minimum distractions, as we just discussed, and break up the slides in sections. So it should be neatly stacked in. If you're talking about partner performance goes there. If you're talking about sales comparison year on year, it goes into section 2. If it goes into recommendations, it goes to section 3. And yes, definitely keep the auto spell check always on and check the spellings and the grammars. A few don'ts to quickly look at is do not use the stale built-in templates. Those typically do not work. I even do not like using the smart arts because they tend to get very boring to look at and unnecessarily you will have to fill in those templates. Do not use the distracting animations and transitions. Those are, as per me, quite babyish. So something flying in from here, something zooming out. That's not the way a professional presentation is anyhow run. Clip arts or entire paragraph using it in your slide, it doesn't work much as well. Do not stress. You are tensed. You are worried about a management meeting that only you know. The other person do not know, right? Act relaxed, act natural, and your audience will be more receptive onto what you're trying to tell them. So going back now quickly to this slide. So let us try to implement what we have just learned into the, I'll have to do it in a working mode. So I'll go to insert, I'll insert a text column here. So if I am presenting now this slide to my manager, I will write. I'm giving you a practical example, guys, so you can understand as to, you can imbibe this in you as to how to do it. Let me use a bullet. I like these small square bullets. These look more professional than the common round ones. Key highlights. Partner 1 and 4 are the champions. Reward them. Okay. Partner 2 and 5 to be focused upon. Partner 3 to retire. Now, how to focus upon? Any challenges? Let's understand that. See, here goes the spelling error. Then any sales booster should work there, perhaps to pick up the sales. Or let's see the staff productivity. Yes. So I will now highlight only this particular thing into a different color. I will make it into bold or even unbold. Actually, it's looking better. And this is how my slide should be. I will insert now a header here which says partner performance November 2021, or if it was Q1 or year 2021, I'll put this across accordingly. I'll left align it, and this is how my slide, if I present it, you can see now it's an extremely neat slide is ready now to be presented. And you can analyze your data, you can take it across, you can create a couple of more slides, try to keep it as minimum as possible, because typically if you are meeting anybody in the management, very practically speaking, they do not have time. In a couple of minutes, they want to understand everything. They don't have a 1 hour at leisure to sit and understand. So this is how, guys, that you can move ahead. And again, repeating, the more you practice, the more you are going to become an expert in this. So practice more and more till you are actually, you think that you are hands-on onto the presentations. Hope you all enjoyed the session. Wishing you all the best. For any more queries, if you have, you can definitely ask me now, or please note down my email address. You can email that me. I'll be happy to assist you on a one-on-one basis as well. So it's open now for the questions. If there are any questions, please write it on the chat box. Thank you, Fatin. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you so much. Hope you all enjoyed the session and it was helpful. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Kajal. Again stating, I'm sure Rufi, Kajal, all of you are going back and you are going to practice this on your own. Just give it 15 minutes a day and you will be, I'm sure, hands-on onto it totally.
Thank you, everybody, for attending, and thank you so much, Ms. Nidhi. We have learned a lot today. Are there any burning questions before we move ahead? If you have got any question, any burning question, please feel free to ask now. If you have got any question, feel free to ask now. Right, I think there are no questions at the moment. Allow me to take you back So basically, today we have concluded the session for this week. We are going to be having another session next week on Friday and Saturday, same timing. And thank you so much, Ms. Nidhi. Today we have learned how to do pivot tables, how to do VLOOKUPs. And one big takeoff from this presentation, from this session, was that it's not only for males, which is the most important thing. Today we have seen Ms. Nidhi teaching us how to do these technical skills. So it's for everybody. It's despite of your gender. Like right now we are moving on the mantra, bringing women back to work. So don't be scared about these technical skills. Feel free and go out there and perform better than even the males. So I've been receiving chat, emails, questions about which institution is hosting this amazing webinar. So we are Lincoln University of Business and Management, and we were founded in 2014. Currently, we have partnerships from UK, from Switzerland, in trying to promote education throughout Middle East and Africa. So basically, we've got partnerships from UK, from York St. John University. We've got another partnership from University of the West of Scotland. For diploma programs, we have got OTHM, Pearson's, Qualify, just to mention but a few. Somebody might be wondering what kind of courses does Lincoln University provide? Because I believe as much as somebody wants to empower themselves, they can only do that through education. That's why us as an education institution, we've gone out and taken a stand to say, we will promote equality, we will promote women, we will make sure that all the people that have been marginalized, the girl child, every woman will be brought on board. So we have got diploma programs in business and management that is starting from level 4. If you have got a high school, you do qualify for any diploma program that is starting from level 3, level 4, level 5. And from there, we've got also bachelor degree programs from York St. John University, which is a public university that has got more than 165 years of existence. So definitely you are guaranteed that you get quality education from a well-known institution. Apart from that, we've got postgraduate diploma programs we are talking about from general MBA. We go into various specialization. If you are into healthcare, you get a qualification in healthcare management. If you are in projects, you get something related to projects. If you are in finance, definitely you get something that is related to finance. Without any further ado, I would just request my team to type, if you have got any question, any query regarding any of our programs that you think might be relevant to you, or if you wish that you have got any query regarding your career, the team is going to type in the chat box the email ID, the contact number that you can reach out to us. I think the team is typing right now. If you have got any query, any question, they will type in the email ID. Feel free to check with us. And despite that, what we are doing as Lincoln University, we are not only just hosting these webinars, but we have gone a step ahead, like the first slide says, that if you register, if you have been attending through this webinar, despite the normal scholarships that we have, you will be guaranteed a 500 dirhams discount from any of the programs that you wish to join. So take this opportunity, embrace it, and take a stand that you can do it. I would like to thank you again and see you next week. Thank you so much, everybody. I see Elian is already asking about something related to hospitality. Like I said, get in touch with our team. They will be able to provide you with the details. They will be able to have a one-to-one session with you on your career in trying to promote the girl child. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank everybody who has joined this webinar, and I look forward to seeing you in the next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Hello, sir. Total, how many webinars are there?
Yes, so we are now left with two webinars that are going to be conducted on Friday and Saturday next week, same time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Most welcome. If you do have any queries, any questions, please feel free to ask. If there's anybody who's got another question, feel free to ask now.
Sir, you have told about various courses. Can we do these courses online?
Absolutely.
Or do we have to join them?
Absolutely. Yes. We have got an amazing student support also that will guarantee that despite you not being on campus, you will be able to benefit from the course, and also you will be able to complete your career. So get in touch with our team. They will have a one-to-one session with you and assist you in any career path that you so choose. Thank you so much. Shukran. Bye-bye.
So, sir, good afternoon. This is Nandini again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So actually, like, this session this is the first session I'm attending with you, and really this is so motivating to start back my career with related to, like datas and things. I have always like aspired to do my MBA, but I didn't get a chance. And even like after settling in Qatar, I've chosen to be a teacher, and I'm now a teacher working in Indian school. I'm happy with my career though, because I'm working with my son, but still I always miss my real career. I'm an engineering graduate, and I have been working with clinical research before. So how will your program, I mean, like if it is an online program, will it be really flexible for me? Because, I don't wanted to give up my career as of now. It's because like, if I take up a course, will I be able to manage online course as well as, do you have any kind of placements? Because, that is more important to me as well.
All right. So I believe your question is in two parts, right? Will the course be flexible? And the second part is, we will be able to support you through placements, right? So I'm going to start with the first part, which refers to the flexibility. One thing that we have looked into into the students or into prospects who wish to pursue their programs. One of the obstacles is that they don't have time. The second obstacle is about the money. The third obstacle is about accessibility, right? So in terms of time, we make sure that our classes are conducted during the weekends. So in a nutshell, we have come up with a model that supports working professionals. That is, you'll be able to attend your classes during the weekends. And also on the costs, on the fees, we have got different scholarships, particularly for women, for disabled. We have got different types of scholarships that are available. And also on top of that, we do not require the upfront payment of the total fees. So you can pay as you go. For example, you can pay per month, you can pay per module. It depends with your ability to pursue any financial structure that will be provided to you, right? Going forward to the placements issue, right? We mainly focus with working professionals. By that, it creates we have created a community of more than 5,000 alumni students that have graduated through us. And these students have been offering opportunities to also the students that have been enrolled through us that seek opportunities. So joining us, it means you're joining a community, that will help you throughout your career and throughout finding better opportunities. I hope I've answered you sufficiently. And if you do still have got more questions, if you still have got more queries, like I said, get in touch with us. We will be able to have a one-to-one session with you and assist you with your career.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. You're very clear. And sorry for the next question again, because like as you said me, like I just, because before joining this session I never had an idea to pursue, but still wanted to see what is going on. So my question here is like, because as you know, Qatar, like we need this certificate to be attested, I mean like MOFA attestation. So will your university be affiliated in Qatar? Because because my MBA should be useful if I pursue it. Definitely I need it. Yeah, so this is what we here. Because
Yes,
my
so
as a B.Ed, that was from a distance learning. I couldn't get my MOFA attested because it was not a regular learning. So I still again don't want to do other degree which is not going to be the same like that. That's my worry.
all right. In short, all our programs, they are globally recognized, right, and globally accepted. And also, as part of the evidence, we currently have got students who are in Qatar, who are in Saudi, who are in Africa. Like we have got students from 85 nationalities. And we continue enrolling and supporting all our students in their various countries and locations. So get in touch with us through our official channels, and we will definitely assist you with the information that you require. But I can reiterate that you are guaranteed to have a globally recognized qualification that will be acceptable in many circumstances.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much, sir. I'll get in touch with you.
You're most welcome. Looking forward to seeing you join the program and looking forward to see you graduate and wishing you a successful career. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it was such a wonderful session. And congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.